Hey everybody, I'm Tommy. Welcome to the Lifeboat. How you doing? So let's get busy. So glad you're all here. It's Sunday. The this day feels a lot like Saturday, which felt a lot like Friday. I'm not gonna lie to you, the day feels a little like Thursday. Jimmy Pickles, good to see you. Robin Miners, glad you're here. Sandy Wendy, what's up? Miss Sunrise Dawn, I'm keeping it proud. DP in Tennessee, good to see you. Good to see you. Kristen Melinda. Roberta, good to see you. Kristen Melinda, it is always an honor. Roberta, same. Kestrel, there you are. Hello. It is really good to see you, Shannon. Sophia, good to see you. Ellie J, what's happening? All right, I think that may have pretty much caught us up for a little bit. Hey, Lisa Black, what's going on, man? What's going on? Layla Bradley, bank holiday here in Ireland, so I can stay up late. I like it. Inappropriate heifer, goddess divine. Hey, Vinny, good to see you. Vinny Logano, nice Irish kid, huh? Good. Love my Italian friends. Anyone whose last name ends in a vowel can't be all bad, right? Goosebumps, good to see you. Lori Hart, how are you? Bacon Bits, Ben Turner. West Coast Fancy Nancy, glad you're here. You know what, peeps? I recently did a show over on the other channel, so some of you probably know, but we've been doing a lot of packing, a lot of moving, a lot of packing, and honestly, I'm fairly impressed at how far we've gotten. I'm not trying to brag about it or anything, but as far as it goes, hey Spike, good to see you. Glad you're here. We have been working just about around the clock. Like I'm not kidding. There are nights that it turns into 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, and yeah, we just keep going. The good news is that I think we're probably way ahead of where I thought we'd be at this point. In all honesty, conversations, Christy. Good to see you, Christy. Glad you're here. Hey, Cosmic. Good to see you, Cosmic. I think I'm hearing a cat. Lisa from Jersey, how are you? Lisa, you got to admit, I very rarely screw up on the glasses thing. You broke me of that habit. You really did. You broke me of that habit. I'm going to need some rest, Roberta. That day's coming. I promise. Hey, just Pauline, good to see you. We're gonna get her down there and unload some stuff, and then I'm gonna head home and I'm gonna take a nap for about 5 days. Calhoun's jaw is getting an awful lot better. He is doing considerably better. I'm not going to allow him to go in the morning. He's not happy about that. But I would imagine by tomorrow afternoon he might be better, and we'll check it then. Lynn Sanity, I'm sorry about your killer migraine, hon. I really am. I know what that feels like, and they suck. AJ Speaks, good to see you. Violet Butterfly, how are you? Did you hire? We did hire. Movers are hired, but all of what the movers are going to be doing is picking up furniture, picking up boxes. They don't pack boxes; they pick them up and they move them. I was watching your other channel. I hope you're doing some self-care. I know how easy it is to get caught up helping others. It's funny that you say that. If you've been on the boat for any length of time, then you've probably heard me talk about I live for now. Good to see you. You've probably heard me talk about how this is kind of a disease when you first get out, right? When you first get out of anything, right? First get out of a bad relationship. You first get out of addiction. You first get out of prison. Doesn't matter what you're getting out of, right? We get this feeling like maybe we weren't as good as we should have been for a lot of times in our life. Maybe we weren't the kindest human being, and we find ourselves wanting to wanting to be better people. Hi, Tommy. Thanks for being you. Reese is blessed to have you. You're a good man. Thank you. That's very, very kind. I'm happy. I was happy to come out here. This is not something somebody could have done alone. There's just no way in hell. And I just finished packing up a house and moving it. Right. So this is not a new phenomenon. I just finished doing this, and I remember what it took me to do. And I did it alone last time. I mean, for all intents and purposes, I did it alone. It was just one of those things. So I thought, boy, that's what she's going to do. There's no way she's going to get this done. I'm not picking on her. She really isn't a ridiculously hard worker. It's almost disturbing. She won't take breaks or any of those things. She's very militant, even when she wasn't feeling well. She's a worker. She really is. But this is that thing when people get all butthurt about. But you know what? We're built differently. We really are. We're built differently. And she can crank these boxes and pack them up with 85 pounds of stuff and tape the top of them. She's not going to move that box. You know what I mean? It's just not possible. So it would have been a bad situation, I think, if she didn't have someone here to help. I think it would have been a bad situation. So it's I'm glad that I'm here, and I've said this on another show. I don't doubt for 1 second that she would be doing the same thing if the shoe were on the other foot. Now, when I got out, because you feel like you let the world down, because you feel like maybe you weren't such a great person, you feel like you got to do something about it to maybe make it better, right? This is a disease. It really can. It can kill you. And I know you're laughing because I'm doing the lifeboat, but I actually have got this far more in check than I used to. But when I first got out, neighbors would come by and go, "Hey, you know what? I'm having some problems with my sink, and I heard that you used to help stuff. Can you come over and take a look at it?" And I'm not kidding you, people. If you've been on the boat a long enough period of time, you'll remember this. But I did everything in that entire damn neighborhood. I had one neighbor that called me to their house 4 times, right? Like I was legitimately fixing things at this person's house for free. And I mean, it was never like a 4-hour job, right? But I would go walk in there and put, an hour and 20 minutes in there. And at the time I was, fixing watches and, doing watches, it's like $150 an hour. So to take an hour off and help the neighbors, right? Ben says, Tommy, that resonates so much with me with all sorts of things. What? We can't say no, right? Find yourself unable to say no. And I was such a jerk for so long that now when someone goes, hey, I'm putting I'm putting a deck on the back of my house, and there are some 30 foot long boards that I'm not going to be able to lift up alone. Can you come by? This one was great. I was doing 3 shows a day at the time, and I was running to this dude's house, working for like 4 hours on this deck, running home, doing the boat, cruising back to his house, and my I'm going to help you pick up a couple of boards turned into 3 days. I'm not joking. 3 days. So what's that? 24 hours, all right, of labor, 3 8-hour days. Great guy. I like the guy. I really do. But I'm not the neighborhood friendly handyman, but I was the guy that doesn't say no. And everybody kind of like that gets around, right? Unfortunately, I really, really started to have issues with that. I didn't know how to say no until I got pregnant at 34 years old. I learned very quickly how to say no. Good. DP in Tennessee says, funny. I actually have a frozen and leaky spigot. Plumber won't come out because the job is too small and they're busy building houses. The struggle is real. Well, if I were nearby, I would probably be the guy to come out. And I got to get better at saying no. I got to get better at saying no. I would never have said no to this. Never. This is a completely different animal. It's got nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the irrational desire to please people we don't even know. Right? The irrational desire to please people that are basically just hanging around, right? They're not even friends necessarily. Just Pauline says 52, still find it hard to say no. Me too. Oh yeah, boy did I help build that deck. Boy did I help build that deck. Yeah, I helped build that deck. Oh God, did I? Saying no without an explanation is power. You know what? I've gotten really good. Seriously, I have. I've gotten really good when people go, "Hey, I was wondering if there's any chance you could help me." I just tell them the truth. It's gotten really easy for me. The first time I did it was so awful, right? The first time I did it was so awful. But since then, I've gotten really good at it. And it comes down to just saying, you know what? No disrespect at all. I don't want to help you do that. Right. And I'm probably not the best man for the job. I've got a lot going on. I don't have the time. The lifeboat's always a great excuse, right? I say to people, you know, I do group meetings online twice a day, right? In addition to what I do in life. So no, I'm not going to come over and help you build your deck. Now, I can't tell you how bad I got it. And friends and family would go, "Oh my God, are you still helping people?" Like I'd say, you know, I'm going over. I told so and so I would follow him. Are you ready? I told so and so I would follow him to Oakland, right? Because he was putting a car on a boat to ship to Hawaii. So I just followed him all the way down. By the time it was all said and done, it was about a 7 hour a 7 hour round trip drive to help this person out. Now, when I do say no, I have the guilts for days. Okay, well, that's me. Cosmic says, my life is falling apart. Still can't bring myself to say no to what damages me. I see why people give up. I do too. Keep it real. I know why people give up. It's hard, isn't it? This is but this is these are the things that will dramatically change your existence, right? I'm not making more of that than I should. These are the kind of things that will radically change your entire outlook on life, right? I'm not playing. If you can start getting to a point where when you realize, right? It's a frightening proposition. This entire thing that we go through, right? It really is, and we do it differently, right? Make no mistake. I promise you that you're going to get a lot more acceptance if you take the path of least resistance, right? If you tell people you're driving down to the local church or the local community center to catch an AA or an NA meeting, right? Well, that just makes sense. That's been working since the 30s, right? And it's shaming you enough, right? It's making you get in the car, drive somewhere, get out of the car, and do that dash of shame because you're not walking into to church for, you know, probably church services at Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, right? And you see the people standing outside, usually smoking cigarettes. There really is kind of a leper feeling to it. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Been to a crap load of them, right? Always gave me the same kind of feeling, right? That I used to get from methadone clinics, right? Same kind of feeling. You can smell desperation. You really can. You can smell desperation. Walk through that door and look around and go, holy hell, what am I doing here? Right? Ever had that one? 6.5 days cigarette free. There's my friend, Miss Sunrise Dawn. Woo-hoo-hoo! Well played. Hear that, people? 6.5 days cigarette free. We're about to bust into a week. We're going to stop counting those days and start counting weeks, right? It's you're really doing it. You are really doing it. Now, it's difficult. It's really difficult if you're going to buck the system, right? If you're not going to go down there and get hit on by every single dude at the AA and NA meetings, let's be really honest, man. If I had to go to meetings to get sober and I had breasts and a hoo-ha, there's no way I'd make it. It's kind of terrifying how badly that place becomes almost like Tinder, right? Tinder in person. Only very often the women don't seem as enthused. Am I making this up? Right? Oh yeah, they all be trying the 13th step. Yep. Yeah, cricket. There's sadly there really is a lot of this that goes on. Right? I mean, this is no joke. This is absolutely real. You know, conversations with Christy. Um, you know the person that you are. There's no doubt the person that you are, right? We may try to talk ourselves into doubting, but If you had just wandered onto the boat, I'd probably have a completely different thing to, yeah, trauma bonding. Woohoo! I probably would have a very different speech for you right now if you had just wandered onto the boat. But I know who you are. There's not a doubt in my mind who you are, right? And we tend to be very hard on ourselves, and we tend to not believe that, right? It's the hardest thing in the world to believe that you're worth a fart. It's just a very difficult thing to do. Um, but uh, allow me to promise you, you are the person that you think you are. I promise. Uh, there is no oversight in AA or in AA and NA. No, there is not. And unfortunately, it's that way with every enclosed group with vulnerable people. Some think it's an easy game. Well, and it is. Sadly, it is. I'm sorry, but just as disgusting as the world is, hang with me for a minute. What if you're going in there and you're not an addict? What if you're going in there and you don't crave anything except a place to find a lot of women who are currently damaged, like everybody else in the room, right? Trying to get over drugs or alcohol or both. You're welcome, Christy, and you know I'm right. I'm sorry, but I am. Catalina says, I have struggled with ants my whole life. I bet you have, right? Everybody on planet Earth struggles with automatic negative thoughts, and we'll stick a pin in that and circle back. The other problem, as I say every single time we talk about this, the other problem is a bunch of the people in the room don't want to be there anyway. A bunch of the people in the room don't want to be there. Got pulled over for a DWI, got caught with an 8-ball, got caught with 4 joints, right, in your car in a state that it's not legal, any of these things. And the judge says, okay, I'm going to let you out on your own recognizance, right? You're going to have to check in with court services. And court services says, if you're going to be out, you got to go to AA or NA every day, right? 90 meetings in 90 days. So you get to that place and 20 people in that room, maybe 30 people in that room, don't want to be there. They're high, they're drunk, or they're just sitting there with their arms crossed doing this one, right? Nothing makes you want to get up and talk about what's going on in your life, right? Like 6 dudes in the front row sitting like this, giving you that look. Really makes you want to get up and say, I'm having a really bad day. I'm having a tough day, and I kind of feel like I want to get high. Right? That's ugly crap. But unfortunately, it's really true. So the success rate among people who want to get sober is a lot higher than 20%, right? That's where it is every other place. Doesn't matter, inpatient, outpatient, AA, NA, anything, right? 20%. However, when people want to get sober, those numbers go way the hell up. Rexican Messler, thank you, my friend. Really appreciate you. And you look great in green. I had a friend who had to go to AA after getting a DUI. He told me the guy leading the meeting had 13 DUIs and basically just told the group how to just not get caught. I couldn't believe it. I can't believe anyone would be shocked. Right? I can't believe anybody would be shocked. This is an ugly freaking disease. This is an ugly, ugly disease, right? I used to pick up a friend and drive him to the AA meeting with me. I didn't go to NA because I thought my odds of running into a heroin addict in an Alcoholics Anonymous meeting got to be smaller than my odds of running into a heroin addict in a Narcotics Anonymous meeting. So even though my drug of choice wasn't alcohol, who gives a crap? The 12 steps are the same, right? What difference did it make to me? I just thought I'm going to be a lot safer in here if I'm not among my people, right? But I used to bring this guy to AA, and he was a businessman. I mean, he was in the used car business, but he sold exotics, like very, very expensive used cars. He brokered things like Ferraris and Lambos and stuff. But I would drive him to work. Every day I would take him to AA because his license was suspended, and mine was not. Shannon Smith says, went into an AA meeting crying, and every man in the place was hitting on me. What the? Do they like crying women? No, but they see somebody that's vulnerable, They see somebody they can go over and go, oh, it's going to be all right. And all of a sudden, that person seems like they're kind and sensitive. And it's just kind of the way it is. And it's disgusting. I mean, it really, make no mistake, it's disgusting. But one day the guy doesn't come downstairs, right? And I'm beeping the horn. The guy doesn't come downstairs. Now, I know if this dude doesn't show up and get his paperwork signed, that the court services people are going to put him in jail. He's not going to be able to go to work. So I go running up the stairs. I beat on the door for about 2 minutes. And then I tried the knob. And when I went in, he had a bottle of Pop Off. I don't know if you guys remember Pop Off. It's a clear, it's vodka. It's a disgusting rot gut, right? One of those, cheap flavor of whatever, like White Wolf or any of those that are just kind of garbage, right? And he had it to his lips and he was squeezing this bottle, right? He was lit. He could not get vodka into his mouth fast enough. He was squeezing this thing for all it was worth, trying to. And I went over and pulled it away from him. She said, "What are you doing, man? Good God." I'm like, we gotta, like, you're done. And it was heart wrenching because I'm not an alcoholic, right? But I'm a junkie. And I was watching that cat do exactly what I had done 1,000 times, right? Just gone, F it. I know that this next one, I'm no longer chipping. I know that when I do this next one, I'm going to be addicted. I know if I do this next shot, there's no coming back. Oh, stupid, right? No, you're not in control. I'm way too smart to do that. I'm way too smart. Knowing full well the next one, like if I use tomorrow, that's too many days in a row. I'm guaranteed going to catch a habit, right? No way I would do that after what, 30 years of being addicted to that crap. Finally getting clean? Nope. I did it a bunch. And watching him do it, watching this dude just, force that stuff down his throat. And I said to him, you know what's going to happen when you walk into this meeting? He said, I'm not going to that meeting. I said, bro, if you walk into this meeting, you're fuzzed, right? You go in there looped. You could spill that bottle down the front of your shirt. But if you walk in there and you say, I need help, right? You walk in and say, help me. You're not going to get treated the same way as if you blow off the meeting. He goes, they're going to take me to jail. I said, you bet they are. I promise you they are. You're going to jail. But you're already drank a half a gallon of vodka. You're going to jail one way or the other. May as well go on your dime. Go down there and tell him you need help. He's like, that's stupid. I'm like, bro, you need help. Right? I just watched you drink half of a gallon in about 15 seconds. Tommy, is the heroin high that good? Is it like speed? No, it's completely different than speed. In fact, it's like the anti-speed, right? Speed gives you an unbelievable rush of endorphins and all of these chemicals in your body that get released so that you get this right instant kind of, all of those feel-good chemicals happen at once. Heroin's a painkiller, a really strong painkiller. And it takes away spiritual pain, and it takes away emotional pain, and it takes away physical pain. And if you don't have any physical pain, then it just starts working on your emotions and it just starts working on everything else. Is it like an opiate pill? Yeah, it is. It's just like opiate pills, except it's a hell of a lot stronger. It gets in there a hell of a lot faster. And because of that, when you take opioids and you take them through your mouth and they go into your stomach and your stomach does its stuff, it starts to go through the stomach lining. All of those things take time. When you go like this and press the plunger down, in 3 seconds, you're feeling it. Or if you smoke it off tin foil in 1 second, as soon as the crap hits your lungs. So yeah, you're basically numb. Now, I'll be really honest. 90% of the people who do it are going to vomit every single time they bang it. Does that make any sense to you? Every single time they do it, they're going to vomit. Now, I have never vomited on an opiate. Doesn't do it to me. It never has. Not even from day one. And that's really odd because most people vomit a lot and they'll put up with it because they need it. It's great for pain, physical pain, spinal pain, cancer pain, any pain, absolutely any pain. And when you put it into the vein or you take it into your lungs, that delivery method is so much stronger than anything else that it's completely yeah, it's apples and oranges. Isn't everything being replaced by fent? Partially or entirely replaced by fentanyl? Absolutely. There isn't any. There's not smack left, and honestly, there's not. You're 100% right. No, no part of it is fun. No part of it is fun. Riley's human. Absolutely. I'm honored you're here. When you get conscious sedation in a hospital, you get a fentanyl Versed combination. That's exactly right. Versed, or they like to call milk of amnesia, is one of the um, drugs that they use in sedation, and the other is fent, and it will absolutely take you. It'll make you very very relaxed. Uh, my daughter is a PhD student researching the effects of THC and CBD on neurological development. Wow. I'm glad someone is, and I bet it's scary, but I'm glad someone's out there testing it because, uh, hey man, I'm not going to be popular with a bunch of people, but we need some people looking at weed that that don't have a dog in the game. Feel me? If your studies are being bankrolled by the U.S. Cannabis Association, maybe I don't have a lot of faith in what your experiments are going to turn out, because it seems to me that people can absolutely ensure how things are going to end up depending on who's paying for the research. And sadly, that does happen. Catalina says prescription fentanyl is way different than street drugs. Apples and oranges. They're both opiates. One is called alpha fentanyl. Alpha fentanyl is made in a lab. It's the same friggin' strength every single time you get it. They do not mess up. There is no quality control issues at all. Sadly, the analog version of this that is on the street is so much different that there is no quality control. They estimate 60% of pills on the street have more than 2 milligrams of fentanyl. Alpha fentanyl, I mean, not alpha fentanyl, but the analogs, the garbage, but over 2 milligrams of it. And more than 2 milligrams is a deadly dose. So 60% of the doses on the street will kill you if you don't have a habit. What stinks is when you have chronic pain, but you can't get meds because doctors used to give them out like Skittles on Halloween. And I apologize, AJ, truthfully and honestly, because I didn't help that. You know, I didn't help that. I was one of those people that that really took advantage of this. You know, I was finding people to go get scripts. Wasn't enough for me to do it. I was bringing friends into the pain specialist, sometimes 5 and 6 of them. You know, I apologize for real because I didn't do anything to help that. I really didn't. And I mean, I was addicted, whatever, but I didn't do anything to help that. And I feel really horrible about that because there are so many people I know now who are in pain. And it is jackasses like me, right? And doctors that didn't give up, you know what, are the reason that people like you suffer now. And that sucks. I have touched on this before. Fentanyl is being laced with xylazine, and that equals trank or zombie or zombified, or they got all kinds of other names for it, right? When I went to AA, they didn't care if you came in drunk. They said, at least you're not drinking for that hour meeting. Well, those days are over. That's a rare meeting. If they'll let you go in with a buzz on, that is a real rare meeting. Most of the time now, no love. Just got estimate for teeth cleaning for my dog, and they give the dogs methadone. Does that seem like overkill? Holy hell. I'd be curious to know how much they give them. Shannon Smith, I'd be fascinated to know that. How big of a dog are we talking about? That's a really heavy drug to give a dog. Now, my gut is they're probably giving him a milligram, you know, or a half a milligram. They're probably giving him something really, really small. But yeah, it's kind of scary. Oral opiates always gave me a speed bump. Never made me tired. Pre-chronic illness. Would I react the same to heroin? Yeah, you would. And I was that person too. I never got the. I had to do that all day long to get the nod at the end of the day. I never nodded out. I didn't pass out after a shot. That never happened to me. I didn't throw up. I took a shot and I was ready to go on stage. I was ready to work. I mean, you could tell. I mean, if you knew me, I got a very different voice, right? When you do opiates, your voice changes dramatically. You drop about 2 octaves, and you end up down. You end up with a voice that's it doesn't sound right. Why do they put fentanyl out there if it kills their clients? Well, boy, oh boy, see that? People, the smartest audience on YouTube, right? And I'm not just pandering to the subscriber base because I want them to stick around and hit the subscribe button. Although I do want you to hit that subscribe button. That's the $1,000,000 question, isn't it? I mean, that's the $1,000,000 question. If you sell a product and the product starts to kill your clients, what do? You take your product off the market. Now, if your product's illicit, then you back off on the strength of the product, right? You start cutting it more so that it gets a little bit weaker and the person is not, in danger. Now, I won't lie to you. They would like an overdose on every batch, but they don't want 40. They want one overdose so that people will go, oh my God, that new stuff's killing fools, because that's going to make the people buying go directly to the person that has the killer dope because they want it stronger and stronger and stronger. Right. I personally believe that this isn't about business anymore. I don't believe this is about drug dealing anymore. They're hurting their bottom line massively. They're killing somewhere between 200 and 300 clients a day. Right. That's bad juju. It's terrible business. It brings the heat. It makes the government want to get pissed off on the border. It does nothing but bring problems to the people making the dope. So why do they keep making it stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger? Granted, addicts want it stronger. They do. But there's no reason whatsoever to give it to them. They never did in the past, right? Never did that in the past. They were happy to put heroin on the street with about 7% heroin and the rest cut. For real, with the China White. And tar, probably 30%, 35%. Might have gotten up to 50 or 60 close to the end before they replaced it all. But it doesn't make sense from the guy pushing the dope. The stronger you give it to them, the less often they got to get it. You want them buying from you 20 times a day, if at all possible, right? It's Catalina, because that falls under a topic called harm reduction. And it's not very popular right now. They want dope addicts to suffer, right? They want dope addicts to be in pain, and I'm not being funny. They want you to get sober. They're pulling for you, as long as it's a bitch of a process and it leaves you really feeling crappy about yourself. For real. But they don't want you to call it a disease, right? Because that lets you off the hook. And they don't want you to do medical assisted treatment, for sure. And if you give out test strips, then people walking down the street who have never even thought of doing dope, guys on their way to church, are going to go, holy shit, they got test strips now? I'm going to go buy some fentanyl. Stupid, right? But that's literally what they think. It's like needle exchange programs. If you set up a needle exchange program, people who never thought of doing drugs are now going to try heroin because they can get a free needle. If you believe that, you literally should hit yourself in the head with a tack hammer, right? Because you ain't all there. Trust and believe that's never happened. Nobody ever goes, oh, I'm taking this up. They're giving away free needles. Why wouldn't I? Stupid. But we're talking about with the harm reduction model. There's a lot of states that think that this is enabling, right? What it's doing is saving people's lives, right? Just like Narcan. There are still states where they're not anymore, but there were states that you needed a prescription to get Narcan. Right? The antidote. The hell would you need? Why? Right? Get in the hands of as many people as you possibly can. Catalina says, synthetics can be changed on a dime. It would be hard to keep up with the testing strips, too sadly. Well, here's the deal on that, right? Here's the deal on that. The testing strips that they have out right now, the city that I just left have them on every single telephone pole downtown. They got test strips in there. They got fentanyl fentanyl inhalers, everything is right there on the pole. But now fentanyl's going away. They're now we're seeing an uptick in a kind of drug that we screwed around with in the 50s and decided it was not stable enough to use really as a painkiller. And they're called nitazines, NITA, nitazine, or phytonitazines or isonitazines, right? But that family, it's a synthetic, but it is a different class altogether. It's also the cheapest crap in the entire world to make. No joke. This stuff is to opiates what crystal meth is to speed. Okay? Anybody with a recipe can make this stuff. And going out and getting the chemicals and all that is not nearly as difficult as it would be to get the stuff to make fent. So there is a crap load of this stuff that is now showing up. There are no states in the U.S. that have not had busts for nits. And when I did the first lifeboat, where I talked about this, there had been one arrest for it in the U.S., and now there is not a state that they have not busted people in. What's the success rate for medical assisted treatment with Suboxone? What are the obstacles making it not 100%? My son asked me, and I want to give him a good answer. We can't tell you what the success rate is for medical assisted treatment to treat Suboxone for people who are struggling. And the reason we can't is because those kind of statistics require people to divulge information that they're just simply not going to. Now, I can tell you anecdotally, right? I can tell you that with the people that I've worked with, it's absolutely astounding. Absolutely astounding. Medical assisted treatment is nothing shy of a miracle for most people. Now, the people that it has not worked for, right? The people that I have worked with who failed didn't really want to get sober. And I'm not being a dick saying that. It was not a situation where people started taking it and it didn't work well. These were people that burned me from Jump Street. They were just trying to get cash. And when they found out that I was going to literally pay, I wasn't going to give them any money. I was going to pay it to the doctors. Half the time people bail right then, right? The other half, they'll let me buy everything and then they go sell it. Now, I had a couple of different times where people went out and did that, and they did it so that they could get more heroin or more fent or more, perk 30s or whatever. And then came back to me when those ran out and said, Tommy, help me. And I'm not mad at him. I'm not. One of them we actually worked with, and he's been going on 2 years that he's been clean. He didn't get off to a great start. And I said to him, I said, I'll give you another chance. I'll work with you again. I won't do it a third time. I friggin' promise you I won't. The medical industry is yeah, it is, people. The medical industry is pretty messed up. And let's be really honest. We're a society that wants a pill. And I'm talking about the world, not just America, but we want a pill to fix everything. Right? Everything. I don't want to go on a diet. Give me a pill. And that pill is going to make it really, really easy for me to lose weight. But I don't want to do it myself. I don't want to exercise. I don't want to change my eating habits. I want a pill. And that's who we are. You know what? One more thing, Goosebumps 801. One more thing on the Suboxone. The other thing that is the hang up is stigma. The stigma attached to Suboxone keeps people from doing it. And people who go, yeah, I'm not getting on that stuff, right? I'm not going to do that. They ended up, it doesn't work out. Sadly, it doesn't. Catalina says in Kensington, Pennsylvania, 9 out of 10 heroin samples tested for fentanyl in 2022. Yeah, that's about the world now, right? There's no point on God's green earth to make something out of a poppy if you can make it synthetically. A poppy is never going to get, the dope is never going to get stronger than the poppy. Understand? The plant has a cap. Really good season, plant got super big. The bulbs are massive. It was the best optimum growing. Okay. That stuff's going to be a little stronger. Not massively, but it's going to be a little stronger. but that's it. You're not going to be able to up that, right? Mother Nature puts a cap on it. Different parts of the world will claim their stuff's better, right? Because the poppy there is whatever. Okay, the synthetics, the stuff like fentanyl, right? This stuff, um, you make it and you go, do me a favor, go back there and make it twice as strong. Okay, I'll go in, make it twice as strong. Come back out. All right, do that again. Do that again. Do that again. And they can just continually make it stronger and stronger and stronger. There is nothing to hold back how strong you can make it. And that's why we have substances like carfentanil, right? Carfentanil, which most people erroneously believe is the stuff that everybody's overdosing on, is the stuff that if you come in contact with, if you touch it with your fingers, it can kill you, right? That's the real deal stuff. It was made to knock out horses and elephants, right? Are meth and crank synonymous with each other, or is one stronger than the other? It's a very interesting question. So back in the day, Catalina, crank used to be manufactured and distributed by motorcycle clubs primarily. True story. And it was made with something called propanol or P2P. It was a very different drug than is meth. Meth is crystal meth, and it literally crystallizes, looks like rock candy kind of a thing. Yeah. So crank used to look like sand or like peanut butter or like it was a very different consistency. It didn't grow into shards. It didn't form crystals. And yeah, it was way better. And better as in you could get high on it for 3 or 4 days without deciding to dig your face, right? Instead of doing this number and scarring yourself, or staring out the blinds for 3 hours, right? Or going on the carpet safari where you think you dropped a shard and you spend a week and a half doing this one through the pile in your deep pile carpet. Hell no, man. But yeah, they're two very different things to be sure. I have seen those who misuse and sold their Suboxone and those who are absolutely needed it to get sober and survive. I got in a few arguments at work for people treating patients like crap for being on Suboxone. Well, good for you, right? God bless you. There needs to be more people that understand that medical assisted treatment is saving lives. Yeah, Max Smith says Mexico has massive factories with degreed pharmacists producing tons of fentanyl. Well, I'm not going to argue that. I'm not. I mean, they're cranking it out. Wherever they're manufacturing this stuff, they are manufacturing this stuff, right? I mean, there's more of it getting found every year than there are people in this country. For real. If you just pick off the pills, they're sending across more than we need. Why do people pick at their faces, says Laura Lou? Well, tweaking is a term that people like to use, but this is a drug, right? This is the family of drugs they give to people who can't focus, people that have ADHD, because it gives you laser focus, which they often call tweaking. A guy will want to take apart a VCR, right? Or a girl, and they like working on car engines. Anything that takes up a lot of time that they can do with their hands, like taking things apart, putting things back together, time sort of goes into kind of standstill. Well, if you happen to walk by a mirror, right, and you go, oh, is that a blackhead? And they go to pick it. The next thing they know, there's one right next to it. And before you know it, they have absolutely destroyed their face. Have I ever read the book Chasing the Scream? As a matter of fact, I have. And what are your thoughts on it? I suspect you have based your theories on connection. Well, very interesting. The book that she's speaking about, Chasing the Scream, is about the guy that started the war on drugs with not enough information and a relative who had a drug problem. It's a fascinating look. But I'll be honest, the connection thing, I stole whole cloth. I stole it. I remember the first time I heard it, when someone said the opposite of addiction is connection. That did not come out of my mouth the first time, I promise you. And I struggle to see who to give it credit to, because there's a bunch of people who seem to take credit for saying that first. However, I'll probably take it a step further, and I will say that it's the answer to everything. It's the cure for 90% of the things that are ailing us. We do not communicate anymore. We don't have communities anymore. We don't have villages anymore. We don't have a group of people who mentor children, right, to try to help them grow up better. We don't have a group of people who revere the older people in the tribe and learn from them. All of the crap that just used to keep societies trucking right along. Well, we gave up on all that. And damn, who would have thought, right, that we all would have ended up on drugs and the number one cause of death in our country would be overdose, right? Didn't see that coming, right? It's just crazy, crazy, crazy. It's disgusting to talk down to anyone who is trying to do better by themselves and just improve. I lost it on a tech who tried to say we didn't have to fill for them solely out of prejudice. That's disgusting. It really is, especially because it's based on ignorance. Kristen Melinda, you absolutely can give the lifeboat credit for it. I am fond as hell of the opposite of addiction is connection. Absolutely fond of it. I really, I think that's fantastic. And we don't have any of it. Our society is absolutely devoid of all of it. I'm worried for our country too. Here's the good news, right? And I say this all the time, but here's the good news. What do you think the next group of revelry, of the people who are going to rebel next? What do you think they're going to do to rebel? Huh? For real? You understand that if your parents are the most conservative people in the world, a la the 1950s, the kids became the 1960s counterculture. They went as far left as you could go. They went left of everything because their parents were right. And that's how it goes. That's how it's always gone. Right? Well, I'm telling you, people, I think that, yeah, throwing away the smartphones would help. Tell you what I'm afraid of. I'll tell you what I'm afraid of. I'm afraid of some people coming out that are going to scare the hell out of you. Right? I think, yeah, Puritans, AJ Speaks gets it. Right? We're going to see some people that are so conservative, right? That you're going to be hearing phrases and things you didn't hear in a long time, right? Ugly stuff. The pendulum swings, right? Pendulum swings, but it swings on everything. Swings on everything. So all of this, hey, you can't crack a joke anymore. We're going to see some Dice Clay kind of comedians. We're going to see some comedians that push it so far that they're going to get arrested for it. Remember that? That used to happen. You guys remember that? Yeah. That's how comedy started back in the day when guys first went blue. So they used to call that when they started cursing. Man, it just wasn't done until some people cutting edge. Well, then what happened? Well, we just kept pushing it, didn't we? And it just kept getting nastier and nastier and nastier and nastier. Like the other day, I was talking about Dice Clay. Watch that and tell me how it holds up. Watch a Dice Clay, a comedy special and see how it holds up. That is kind of needed in my opinion too, AJ. Lenny Bruce, thank you, Lumen. Lenny Bruce was the first one to really start cursing, and he got arrested for it. He pushed it, right? And then all of the other people came. And I think it went right up to about Dice Clay, who was just said stuff that was just so foul. And you ought to be able to. I mean, you can say whatever you want. You should be able to. If you don't like it, don't listen, right? But it's gone, right? Now we don't allow any of that. He didn't hold up at the time at all, Rosalind. He didn't at all. And he was offensive. Let's keep it real. He was massively offensive. But now you can't offend anybody, right? God forbid you can't offend anybody. Andrew Dice Clay was awful. He was. He absolutely was. And it does not hold up well. I was 8 when I learned the nursery rhymes from Clay. I like the nursery rhymes. I used to get a kick out of the nursery rhymes. But even those, what it comes down to is I understand shtick, right? Trust me, I understand shtick. You think that, okay, when I come here to the lifeboat, this is me. But on other channels, sometimes we put on personas, right? And we do things to make people, but Dice Clay put on a character. He's not even Italian, right? He pretends to be Italian. He's not. But that's a persona that he played. The trouble is that the people that listen to it, right, get really into it. And there's just this sort of misogynistic kind of attitude that was really kind of pervasive for a long time. Carlin was, you're not going to get me to do anything but gush about George Carlin. George Carlin, I don't even think he was I don't even think he was a comedian. I think that what he did, he was a social commentator, I think, something along those lines. Frank Humphrey says filthiest comic was Buddy Hackett. I'll tell you something. I remember Buddy Hackett's comedy stuff. I think I had every one of his albums at one time. But again, you want to go back and listen to stuff that doesn't hold up very well? I mean, bigoted, racist, some really rugged stuff. Now, I don't want that to happen. I don't think anybody wants that to happen. We don't want to go back to that. No one does. But the stuff that we're doing now, I think everybody's we're a little freaked out. I think everybody's a little freaked out too. We have satire about almost everything in Germany because our history being as serious as the avoidance that led to it. We don't give a flying F about sensitivities in satire. Well, I think that's lovely. I'm not joking either. Yeah, I saw Carlin a couple of times in concert too. I saw Carlin a couple of times and just loved him. His routine on sports, man, I could listen to him talk about sports until the end of time. Or the other one that I loved was when he talked about stuff. You got to go out and get stuff. Got to make sure you got locks on the doors while you're out getting stuff because you don't want somebody to show up and steal your stuff while you're out getting more of it. Funny stuff, really funny stuff. Red Fox was vulgar. Red Fox was vulgar, and everybody got a little bit more vulgar, right? It's just kind of what happened. I, I don't necessarily, and I'm not advocating for anything. I'm predicting what's coming, right? I'm not Nostradamus. This happens the same every single time. Bob Saget, holy hell. Why water polo isn't a sport? It's mean to the horses. That's right. Body Illusion says, I was never real crazy about Don Rickles. Well, there's another great one, right? Rickles is a great example. That cat was his shtick, right? He didn't even tell jokes, really. Right? It was the same thing every single time. He just, he was the insult comic before there was any other insult comics. You saw Carlin on the last tour at the Warner Theater in Torrington, Connecticut. Wow. That's awesome. To see the last tour is great. I did not see the last tour. I did see the one right after he signed that big deal for the 1-800-COLLECT. After doing a big thing about selling out and all that. And then he came out on stage and he goes, what? Yeah, I sold out. But in my defense, it was for a lot of money. He's like, it was a crap ton of money. Carlin was just funny. Screech from Saved by the Bell stand-up was dirty. Is that right? God rest his soul. Poor Screech. He died of cancer, I think last year or the year before. Carlin did a lot of coke. I would not be surprised by Carlin doing a lot of blow. But Red Skelton was funny and not dirty. Sir Jedrick Walker. There were, you know who's great? I'm not going to remember his name. But he was a comedian that used to talk like this. And he'd say, why is it that you park on a driveway and drive on a parkway? It doesn't make any sense. Why is it in baseball that if you hit the foul pole, it's out, right? Or it's a home run rather. It should be out. If it hits it should be called the fair pole. And all of his jokes he just didn't curse. Nothing was curse. It was all just Stephen Wright was the guy's name. Stephen Wright. Cricket got it. Yeah, Stephen Wright. Very, very cerebral stuff. Not a lot of cursing, but you got to use your mind, man. You got to use your mind. The Dustin Diamond, wasn't he labeled a predator? I never heard that, Catalina. I never heard that. I don't know if that's true or not, but I never heard that. Hey, Miss Dragon, good to see you. Yeah, I love Stephen Wright. He was one of my favorite comedians of all time, to be sure. Very, very intelligent, very, very cerebral, Mitch Hedberg was great too. Mitch Hedberg was a little bit different. Mitch was, I don't know what the word I'm looking for is. I mean, Mitch was a little bit raw, right? Mitch was a little bit raw. I tried to unlock my house with the car keys, put the keys in, started up, started driving around the block. Cop pulled me over. I said, get the hell off my lawn. Yeah, that was just really, really funny stuff. He just, guy that sat around and did some really deep thinking. I saw him in concert too in Boston, and his clothes went like this. He said there were two babies born in the hospital in New York, and they're put in the little place where they stick the kids, the nursery, and they're laying next to each other, looking back and forth. And the parents come in and they take them away. Fast forward 88 years, and they're wheeling two gurneys of these old men onto the elevator. It's the same two guys, and they're bringing them back to the hospital. Obviously, not doing well in health, and as they're pushing them into the elevator, they make eye contact again. And one looks at the other and says, "So what'd you think?" I remember walking out of the theater going, "Man, that's not a joke. It's just disturbing, man. Like now I start feeling really weird." Let's get really old. Pat Paulson for president. I don't remember Pat Paulson. Pat Paulson. I got nothing. I don't know who that is. My friend at his last bender with Red Skelton, 3 days lock in with hookers. Well, I'll be damned. Red Skelton was going hard to the paint. Cat Williams is the only thing close to Carlin right now. It's funny that you say that. It's funny that you say that. There's a lot of people out there that think Cat Williams is crazy. I personally do not. There's a lot of people out there right now that are acting really nuts. But when you go back and listen to the things that they've been saying for years, really seems to line up, right? He was from Laugh-In. Oh my God. Yeah, we're going back a while. I loved Laugh-In. I remember Laugh-In. What's her name's mom was on that? Remember, she was always in a bikini. Right? Kurt Russell's girlfriend. Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn was on Laugh-In, wasn't she? Ron White is sober. Ron White is sober. Hold on 1 second, people. Sorry. Sorry. I got to every once in a while, you got to check on your six. You're five. Sorry. Goldie Hawn, and remember one ringy dingy, two dingy, two ringy dingy. Ruth Buzzy. Ruth Buzzy was the one with the purse, right? Wasn't she always smacking people with her purse? And she had on like thick. She would wear stockings like what do they call that stuff? Like prescription hose, prescription hosiery, that kind of thing. It's too funny, too freaking funny. My sister is going to see Josh Johnson this month for their anniversary. She's never been to a comedy show. She's excited. You know what? If you've never been to one, I remember the first time I went. I think I was a little freaked out the first time I went to a comedy club. I'm not joking. I much prefer to watch them on TV. It's a lot of drunk people. There's an awful lot of really, really drunk people at those, and I find that disturbing. I don't like being in rooms with a bunch of people who are loaded. Right? They get loud, and it's just Gallagher and his brother. Did you know that there were two of them? I'm not compression hose. Thank you, Shelley Kelly. Art Carney from the Honeymooners. Loved Cat Williams' bit on weed. Yeah, it is. Cat Williams does a very funny. Tamber went to see Josh Johnson, my first comedy show a few weeks ago. It was awesome. I love that. Don't waste your money on Pauly Shore. He's boring and just ask for money for his son-in-law too. No, for son-in-law too. They're gonna try to pull off son-in-law too. I'm not gonna lie to you. I laughed really hard at son-in-law 1. You may not believe that, but I really did. Wow. So Tedrick Walker says Red Skelton's only child died of leukemia, and then a couple of years later, his wife unalived herself on the day their son died. That's awful. And then I don't know how many years later, a guy that I did work with swore on a stack of Bibles he was the guy's son. In the days of the internet, when you could really easily look it up, he had the same last name, and he was like, "Yeah, that was my dad." And I looked up and saw just what you did. I'm like, I don't think that's your dad. He used to love Pauly Shore. You know what? Pauly Shore. His parents owned, what was it? His mom owned the comedy club, or She owned one of the Laugh Factory. I can't. It was one of the really big comedy clubs out in L.A. Oh wow. Caddy says I went to see Paula Poundstone. I wasn't impressed. She laid on the floor the entire time. You want to hear something? If I'm not mistaken, and I don't think I am, she got in trouble. She got in trouble for yeesh, yeesh. Um, pretty yeah, pretty bad stuff if I'm not mistaken. She was doing things that she shouldn't have done with kids. Yeah. Not something that it's certainly more often than not a male thing, not a female thing, but she was one of the exceptions to the rule apparently. Um Lewis Black, yeah, Lewis Black was a genius. I liked Lewis Black. Shannon Smith says, no way. Yeah, it ended her career. That's when she disappeared. Sorry. Um, Tamper June, good for you. Got a lot of sympathy from extended family today regarding my mom's death, and it's hard to deal with. They understand and didn't ask many questions, so that was nice. I set my boundaries with them. Good for you. Tampa B, good to see you. Nice. Glad that you're here. Uh, more women target tween and teen boys. Yeah, Kestrel, you're right. Sadly, you are right. This is a real thing. Anyone remember the Flip Wilson show? My dad commandeered the house TV on Thursday nights and would laugh till the tears ran down his face. My dad was super into there were things my dad could watch and laugh hysterically, and one of them was always Johnny Carson. My dad loved Johnny Carson. And I remember as I got older being able to stay up late enough with him to watch it. What happened to Dennis Miller? Well, it's odd you should ask that. Dennis Miller decided that he was more interested in politics than comedy. And these days he writes books and goes around the country with other folks who tend to agree with his political view. Debbie P, I'm so sorry that the doctors have been idiots because that sadly happens more often than not. I think that when you want to leave somewhere, you get a fire under you. Well, DNV, there's probably something to that. You know what, Mile High Hokie? There's something to that. Dennis Miller did not do well on Monday Night Football, and I think that kind of hurt his career. Daniel Barry Sports Highlights. Hey, how are you? Good to see you. The comedian turned political commentator thing is interesting to me. The Jon Stewart thing. I get it. I do. Um, Jamie Palmer says Abbott and Costello's who's on first. Seven times 13, 28 skits are amazing. You're absolutely right. They are. They're absolutely amazing, right? And cerebral as hell. You know, it takes a very quick mind to come up with that stuff. Geraldine is one of the best characters ever created. The devil made me do it. Love the name too. Love the name Geraldine. I went to high school with a girl from Australia who moved to the United States, and I think maybe sophomore year. And I went so I did 3 years of high school with her, and she was just a really nice person, super nice. First person that ever gave me Vegemite. Didn't like it that time either, oddly enough. Yeah. He always made me laugh. Old time musicals got me through my tough childhood, so I love that. Believe it or not, I'm huge into old musicals. True story. I like to say that I know more show tunes than 99.9% of straight men in America. Big fan of show tunes. Jackie Gleason. It's funny when I'd rather get my election coverage from a comedian. Dare I say they're all clowns. At least comedians are well trained. And you know what else? They're not trying to BS anybody. Shannon, I owe no Vegemite. I said that when this puppy hits 100,000, I'll be eating Vegemite every day for 2 weeks. That's what I said. And I stand by that, right? Even if I've got to appear out of the mist. I will be necking Vegemite for 14 consecutive days when this puppy hits 100K. Vegemite is so very wrong. Apologies to all our Aussie friends. Well, who would have thought that a spread made of yeast might not be all that tasty? I don't know. Didn't see that coming. John Stewart is my go-to for politics, says Lisa. I these days avoid it like the plague. Bumbag Millionaire says, "Whose bedroom is this?" Well, it's not a bedroom. Bumbag. It is it's an office actually, not a bedroom, just an office. But welcome to the lifeboat. Pretty happy to see you here, man. Or am I? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome aboard. Welcome aboard. Right. Couple of grins. Bread has yeast. I like it there. You know what? So does alcohol, right? Like when you brew beer, there's some yeast involved. And my understanding is that they were starting to skim the stuff off the bottom of those tanks, and that was kind of the I don't know what you want to call it. It's what made them think that that this may have been a good idea. And I assure you, to all of my friends over there, as much as I love you, and I do, yeah, I'm just still going to go out on a limb and say that it's pretty nasty stuff. Liquid bread, yeah. I don't know that I need my bread in liquid form, but that's just me. Geraldine was played by Flip Wilson. Well, it's nice to see you too, Bumbag Millionaire. Nice to see you too. You know what, Jamie Palmer, I did too. That's a good point. Whether you like the cat or not, John Stewart really did an awful lot for first responders, especially after the tragedy in New York, which left a lot of those cats in really bad shape. The men and women that went in there are suffering from a lot of really tough illnesses, and he's probably been the most vocal voice out there that has really fought for those people. So I respect the hell out of that. You know what? A lot of comedians are really you can't. I don't think you can be dumb and be a comedian, right? I mean, you have to have a pretty sharp mind. You have to be pretty quick. That's my humble opinion. Your cat is yelling. Okay. Well, when the cat starts yelling, I think I'm pretty much I've been here long enough about that time, and I really do need to get some sleep because Bumbag and everyone else who doesn't know the backdrop, I'm helping a friend of mine move. So I've been packing up this person's house with them and trying to get it done in the next couple of days. It's close, right? I think we can get it done in the next couple of days. But John Cleese is brilliant and well educated. I agree. Casey says you have to be really smart to act that dumb. I think that goes all the way back to the what were the names of the guys with the bells on their hats? That were always mocking the Kings. Violet Butterfly. I want to sign off soon, but I just wanted to say that I appreciate how you cover all addictions. I had to say that because your comment about shopping addictions on your other channel. Well, you know what? So this thing got called there you go. That's what it's called. Yeah, them. This thing got called the lifeboat because we are all in the same boat. And it doesn't matter what your what it is that you're struggling with. Yeah, well, back in the day, those guys could say anything they wanted, and they were kind of protected, from that kind of, the merriment, right? They could get silly, and and sort of get away with it. And I think there's a decent amount of that going on now. We're seeing a lot of people like Orlando Brown, and sometimes you feel like maybe those guys are playing the clown, right? A lot of the stuff that they seem to bring up. Thank you, Shelly Kelly. She would do the same thing. I promise you. She would do the exact same thing if the shoe were on the other foot. If the yeah, if the one of the 950 shoes that I packed here were on the other foot. I'm kidding. It wasn't that many. It was only like 4 or 5 boxes. The big boxes, the kind that barbecue grills come in. I'm kidding. I'm just doing that so that when she sees this, I'll get the Busey look. All right, peeps. Tomorrow, I will be here in the morning. As I said, I'm not letting Spanky do the morning deal. So she would absolutely be here. I promise you, she would. Yeah. There's no doubt, in my mind that that's the case. Yeah, per box. Kimmy's blue per box. The CFO of Koss Headphones stole $7 million and bought shoes with the money he never wore. The CFO of Koss Headphones stole $7 million and bought shoes with the money. Wow, that's a lot of shoes, man. That is a lot of shoes. No, Jamie Palmer, I was really trying to just kind of, no, it's pretty. It was pretty damn impressive. When we get where we're going, maybe I'll photograph it so that you guys can see it, because it's kind of hard to believe if you haven't. Well, thank you, everybody. And tomorrow I'll see you guys in the morning here on the boat. And then for the rest of the day, don't know, but we will let you know as we go. All right. I'm Captain Tommy, or Admiral Tommy. Any way you shake it, I'm Tommy, and we'll see you on the next one. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.